Hi guys, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn, and in today's tutorial, we're going to use this PYDLife sublimation oven to make a phone case. Now, I showed this oven in a recent video, and in that video we made a tumbler, we made some coasters, and we made a slate photo. One of the nice features of this oven is it has a built-in vacuum. So if you use this oven, you can use this optional vacuum tray to make some of your projects. We'll be using this today. So in addition to the things that I've already mentioned, we're also going to use the instruction manual. We have a jig so that we can make our phone case. Here's our phone case blank. We have some special film that you print on. I have a heat-resistant glove, and then I have a hole punch. The manual that you get with this oven does a nice job of giving you a lot of example projects and the instructions for them. So what we're doing today is a phone case. They want us to heat it up to 302 Fahrenheit for 8 minutes, and then they want us to have a 12-second preheat on the vacuum. Here's the design that I'm going to use for my phone case. This is from Creative Fabrica, and I'll link it in the video description in case you're interested in it. After I downloaded it, I took it into Silhouette Studio and added my name with an offset around it. Now with this sublimation project, we need to mirror our design. So we're going to select it, then go up to Object, down to Mirror, and flip it horizontally. Now let's print it. And I'm printing this on my Epson EcoTank 15000 that has sublimation ink in it. For settings, I'm going to print from the rear tray. I'll use the photo semi-gloss paper setting, and that changes the print quality to best quality. Now I'll click print. So here it is printing out, and we're printing on the white side of this film. I have never had any issues with printing on this film, which is great because sometimes films can cause drama. Also, one thing to notice is that with sublimation ink, it typically doesn't look very vivid as it prints out. It takes that heat for an extended time to make those colors pop. Now that our design is printed out, I'm going to put it up here because I want this to continue drying, and I'm going to go ahead and start this preheating. To turn it on, and it might be hard to see in the camera, but there is a little button right here. Hold that on for about 3 seconds and it's going to come on. We're currently on mode 1. There's a 1 flashing, and currently that's set to 302 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 minutes, with a 5-second preheat for the vacuum. I want to change those settings. One thing that I've learned in using all 4 of the sublimation ovens that I've used is typically what you set it to is not the actual temperature inside. So what I did when I got my first oven is I bought one of these little thermometers, and I set the temperature, I put this inside, and I kind of figured out how much extra I needed to turn up the heat to get it to the right temperature. So we're going to change the 302 to 320. To do that, you press on the little thermometer picture, and then we're going to bump that up to 320. If you hold this down for very long, it starts jumping in increments, but we're close enough, I'm not going to do that. All right, 320. Now I want to change the 7 minutes to 8 minutes. So we'll click on the time clock, and we'll bump that up. Now I want to change the time of the vacuum preheat. To do that, you push that time button again, but you hold it down for a few seconds. Now it's flashing. We'll bump that up to 12. All right, that is all set. So now let's hit this little play button over here to start it preheating. While the oven's preheating, I want to go ahead and get my image ready. So here it is. Remember, we had to flip our design, and then it's going to go ink side down. With this tray, there's 4 pins here. And what we're going to do is we're going to poke holes in the film and place them over those pins to hold it in place while it vacuums down. So I put my design right in the center when I printed it. And so I want to try to center this on this liner. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where those pins are with this Sharpie. So we'll take the hole punch. This was provided with the oven, and we're just going to press those out. Now let's do a reality check and make sure that I have those in the right place. And then after I do that, I'll put this film back on top of the oven. All right, that looks great. So we're going to put it ink side up to dry. We'll put it right back up there while this is preheating. The next thing that we need to do is we need to put our jig or our form inside here. So let's talk about this tray for a minute. Right now, it's outfitted with some Teflon fabric, as well as, I'm not sure what this is called, but basically this is what's going to hold our jig in place. Also notice the back is empty, or the back is open. That's because we're using this type of seal right here. On some projects, you use this in place of this seal. So when you're using the film, you're using the open seal. When you're using sublimation paper, like on truly flat items, you use this. Okay, you can hear that beeping, which means it's up to temperature, and it actually starts counting down, but that's not a problem. It's going to reset in a few minutes when we put our tray in. So here's a closer shot of this form or jig, whatever you want to call it. And it says IP17. So iPhone 17 is what this is for. Notice this is built up right here, and that's to help provide really good support in this area once the vacuum starts going down. So you have to pay attention to what side is up, meaning up. Not up and down, but up and down. I'm going to put up that way. And the only reason that matters is then I'll have to remember that that's the direction I was putting it when I put my film in there. We do have to let this preheat for a little bit before we can actually do this project. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Now for preheating, there's no need to have to lock this down. And that is down to just over 5 minutes. I want this to preheat for about 5 minutes, so that's going to be about perfect. For now, we're just going to put it in the top area up there. So there's little kind of racks, just like a kitchen oven, that helps you know where to put it. We'll talk about that here in just a minute when I show you how you have to connect the vacuum rack to the oven, or to the vacuum part of the oven. For now, I'm going to let that set for about 5 minutes. Now that that's been in there pretty close to 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. You do that by pressing this play button and hold it down for about 3 seconds. Now I'm going to remove this tray from the oven and put it on this cooling rack over here, or really it's just to protect the table. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. And then we want to place our film, remember, with the ink side down. And I need to make sure that the top of the film is at this end, because remember, that's the top end of the phone jig. First, we'll place our sublimation blank down on it. Make sure it kind of snaps into place. Then we'll flip this over ink side down and just get those holes over those pins. Now this next part is the hardest part for me of this whole process, and that is to get, ooh, that's hot. That is to get this top part locked down into place. I'm going to have to turn it toward me just a little bit, but I think you'll still be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so this piece rolls up, so we have to kind of press this down, roll this over the top of it, and this has to roll all the way back. So right now I just have it halfway. And the first time I used this oven, that's what I did. And it popped open in the middle of the process. So we really have to press this back. There we go. Perfect. Now this part of the video might be a little bit dark. I turned my ring light off so that you could see something. You have to make sure that you make contact with the area in the back of the oven where the vacuum is. So with this rack, the back side has this hole in it. In the oven, you can see what looks to be kind of like a suction cup back there. You have to make sure you make good contact with that. But before I can put this in, I need to go ahead and hit the play button again. Once that gets up to the right temperature, it's going to start counting down, and then it'll allow me to hit that vacuum button. Okay, we're up to temperature, so let's go ahead and put this in. It has to go on the top rack or the top shelf. There's multiple places you could put it, but it has to be in the top one to make contact with the thing in the back. I'm going to push it against that little suction type cup in the back. We'll close this up, and then we're going to hit the vacuum button. Notice that started the time over, and my little vacuum preheat started counting down. And the noise that you hear there, that is the vacuum doing its job. Hopefully you could see it sinking down, or hopefully you could see that film sinking down in the camera. When this finishes up, you want to get it out of there as soon as you can, because as this film cools, and listen to this, I love that. As the film cools, it gets harder, and it's harder to remove from the phone case. So let's open this up. It looks like it did a good job. That looks nice. And then we're just going to remove the film. Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. Look at that. That is gorgeous. And then look at how the color wrapped all the way down. That's the beauty of having a vacuum. You get that to where you can see it. Because sometimes the glare makes it look like it's not there so well. That looks great. Look at that, all the way down there. Beautiful, vibrant colors. I love it. Now, I don't have an iPhone 17, but if I get one, I'll be ready. Love, love, love that. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're interested in one of these sublimation ovens, I'll put my link in the video description. Now that is an affiliate link, so if you're in the market for one of these, I do appreciate when you can use that link. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.